Page 16, favorite words. As I do in all my videos, I have a particular process I go through to learn a new piece of music, and that's what I'm doing here. You have your own process, everybody has their own, but I'll try and cover everything eventually. I may not do it in the order you would do it, but I'll try and get there. First thing I like to do is look it over. I see it's 2 pages long, sort of. Treble and bass clefs, because they don't always have to be treble and bass clefs. Always check the clef signs. And 3/4 time signature. So there's 3 counts in a measure, and we're still counting quarter notes. And I look it over and I see a bunch of quarter notes and dotted half notes and some tied notes. I think we can handle that. And I want to do it one hand at a time at first to make sure each hand is under control before I put the hands together. So starting with the right hand, you have 5th finger on G. That puts you in this hand position, C position. And they're quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Isn't this fun? And then second line, that G in the second line is tied for 2 measures, so you're going to hold it down for 6 counts. Won't that be fun? And then you get 2 measures of rest, and then the third line. 1. It's a broken C chord. Okay? Anyway, you go through, check the right hand out. Left hand with thumb here, that puts you in C position. And we dotted half notes. 1, 2, 3, and then an F and a G, 2, 3, and E. And the bottom notes move and the top notes not. And the second line is a broken C chord all the way through. And again, I use weight to push the notes down. So what I'm doing here is I'm simply transferring weight from finger to finger. I just lower which finger I want the weight to be on. I don't hold the head still and try and use the fingers. I don't recommend it. Just transfer weight. Your wrist may do a circle or do whatever it's doing. I let the wrist do whatever it wants. I don't really think about the wrist. I'm just transferring weight from finger to finger, staying loose. So put the hands together, and we're here at the beginning. And when I first put the hands together, I may hesitate a bunch. I don't care. It's here, and then here, and here, and here. And on the second line, when I get to the third measure there, see, the right hand comes up. Here. So the left hand's by itself. And the third line is 2 notes together here. And when I play the E, the left hand. Hold the right hand does down. Get the idea? So I go through and I put the hands together, and then I go back through the trouble spots that are hard or I'm having problems with, and I work them out. Then I go through the whole thing a few hundred times, and I make sure there's no hesitations anywhere. It is a steady beat. You can keep it slow, but the beat has to be a steady beat all the way. Once I have that, then I think about the articulation. They have slurs, so the phrases, actually, the third line down on page 16. That's one musical sentence, one musical thought. So I'm going to lift up after it before I go on. Of course, you have to lift up so it's the same note, but it's a little more of a lift. It's a little longer, so like taking a breath. You lift up. Lift up. Now, for some reason, they didn't put a slur line over the third line on page 17. There's no slurred line there at all. I would suggest you go ahead and connect them. However, keep in mind when they don't give you anything, no slur line or nothing, it's your choice. How do you want to do? That's where interpreting the music comes in. You can disconnect those notes if you want to. It's a contrast between what you were doing. We like contrast in music. We like contrast, yes. So if you want to do that, you can do that. They didn't put slur lines over the repeated notes, like from the first line. They could have put a slur line over all of that, but because it's repeated notes, they probably didn't, because you can't connect repeated notes. But you could still put a slur line over it, which means try and get them as closely connected as you can. Because again, when they don't do that, they don't give you anything, you can play them short. it's interpreting the music. So you have choices on the articulation. For now, just getting started, I suggest go ahead and try to connect them as best you can and lift up between the phrases. The left hand, connect all of this. You can't connect these, but otherwise connect everything you can. Go over to page 17 on the third line down. You're here in the left hand. Go ahead and connect all of that all the way across. Connect the left hand as best you can all the way through. Now you're doing different things in the hands at the same time. We need to work on this. It takes a while to grasp, at least it did for me. For instance, lifting up between the phrases in the right hand, but I'm connecting the left hand. It's like at the end of the line on page 17, the first line, at the end, the last measure, you're here. Going to the next line, I'm going to lift up here for the phrase, but I'm keeping this, I'm going to connect that. So I want to connect the left hand. Same thing in the second line. At the end of it, I'm here. But I'm going to go to the third line, I'm going to connect the left hand, but I'm lifting up here in the right hand. So it's So lift up for the phrases, but connect the left hand as best you can. And then even in the end of the third line here, going into the fourth line, I'm going to lift up here, but not here. I want to connect this. That's interpretation now. If you would prefer at the end of the third line, you can lift both. Have just a total speck of silence there if you wanted to, because that last line is different than the rest of it, so we can, it's like a new section. We haven't gotten into sections and all that yet, but as far as interpreting it, you can lift up both hands there if you want to. You can try both ways and see what you think. So once you have the articulation under control, and you can sort of do that, then I think about the dynamics. P at the beginning, piano is soft, and it applies to the melody. That's in the right hand. Softly, this left hand needs to be very soft. So I'm sort of light in the right hand because it's soft. See, the softer you get, the less weight you use. The louder you get, the more weight you use. So I'm sort of light in the right hand, and I'm very light in the left. I'm very soft here. Third line down, we have an MF for mezzo forte. That's moderately loud or sort of loud in the right hand. The left hand needs to be kept in the background. See, I'm still playing the left hand soft. Well, at the beginning I was playing it very soft. So I am playing a little louder here, but I'm still in the background. And you're staying moderately loud, yeah, until the last line on page 17, when you come back down to soft, like you were at the beginning. Okay. Then the speed, well, gently. Well, if you're going to sing it, how fast would you? Just don't rush it, but don't drag it. It's just somewhere in the middle. Don't drag it and don't rush it, because your held out notes, these want to speed it up, and the quarter notes want to slow it down. So it's somewhere in between. And then once I have the mechanics out of the way, then I start getting into the music. This is where interpretation comes in. So you feel it, and that way you may alter a few things here and there because you feel them that way. So at the beginning, I'm soft. Then the second line, the last two measures with the left hand, because I'm very soft. But in the third line, I'm louder. So maybe I'm going to gradually get louder at the end of the second line. The last two measures, get louder. I start getting louder there, so I'm prepared. So it isn't a sudden shock when I go, all of a sudden I'm moderately loud. I can gradually get louder at the end of the second line. The music doesn't say anything. Well, the music never tells you everything. So it's up to you to fill in the blanks and feel it. So forth. Then on page 17, third line down, at the end, the last two measures here, you're moderately loud here, and that's going to die away on its own. So it gets softer. Well, the left hand can come up, it's been a little louder, it's in the background, but you can go ahead and start getting softer in the left hand to it, to match this. So that last note in that line is actually back down to almost very soft. So each note is a little bit softer. This prepares the fourth line when you're soft again. See, so it isn't a suddenly, I mean, sometimes we do like the sudden changes. But if it's going to be a gentle song, I don't really want any sudden anything. I don't want any surprises. I just want a gentle feel. So you get into the music, you start feeling it. Remember the natural accents? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You feel these. You notice the last line on page 17, it says much slower. So you just all of a sudden you're going slower. Just you'll have to decide how much slower it is. Just go slower, just feel it. Let's play this together very slowly just to check the notes and the rhythms. I'm not doing any dynamics. I'm going to play everything about the same. All we're doing is making sure you have the right note at the right time. So I'm going to give us 3 counts. Let's just play it slowly. 1, ready, go. 1, 2, 1, 2. Tie, 2, 3, off.